What will happen if there is zero income tax in the US? My name is Paul Vasquez with Tax Lab. We help people become ethical millionaires. So, we've heard rumors that maybe they'll do away with the income tax in the United States. But how will this actually affect you? As a company that does some tax preparation during tax season, I've thought about this question quite a bit. There are still many questions left unanswered, and if the only thing they did away with was the income tax, most likely many people will still have to file a tax return. Doing away with income tax doesn't necessarily mean that payroll taxes will be eliminated. Payroll taxes are more than just federal income tax. Payroll taxes include Social Security and Medicare. There is an employer and employee contribution side of that makes up about 15.3% value of the employee's pay. So I would suspect that unless they make further changes, there's still going to be payroll taxes taken out. In addition, doing away with federal income tax does not automatically mean that states will do away with their income tax. So you could still expect to see taxes removed from your paycheck. There's also unemployment insurance tax that employers are paying on your behalf based on the employee's income. So there we have 4 things already that would need to be addressed if you expect not to have to worry about a pay stub or a W-2. There's some other taxes that appear on that W-2 that you might receive other than just income tax. And I think any politician would have a very hard time getting rid of what's funding Social Security and Medicare. Next, when we file our taxes, there are those in lower income tax brackets that get earned income credits or money back for having some earned income, and child tax credits for those who have children 17 or younger. These families might still want to file a tax return because they need to prove that they qualify for that based on their income. So just because there's no income tax does not mean that you will not need to file an income tax return, because you'll still want to report your income for those wealth transfer programs like the Earned Income Credit and the Child Tax Credit, unless you expect they're going to do away with that too. And from what we hear, they're trying to increase the Child Tax Credit and make it more permanent. Next, you have the self-employed. The self-employed pay what's called self-employment tax. That is different from income tax. It's still based on your income, but the self-employment tax is that 15.3% that would go into Social Security and Medicare, half for the employer and half the employee when that relationship exists. When it doesn't and you're self-employed, that self-employment tax is supposed to make up for Social Security and Medicare taxes that are being taken out of that person's paycheck. So instead of somebody taking that out as you earn, you're reporting that maybe quarterly or maybe at the end of the year. You're reporting your income in order to satisfy the self-employment tax. Once again, that's not going to go away unless somehow you're going to do away with the requirement for individuals to fund Social Security and Medicare. If you have a business, you're probably going to have to file a tax return to show your income regarding self-employment tax, maybe regarding 1099s. That's a question on there. Did you pay out any 1099s for other people who should be paying in on self-employment tax? In addition, income tax is not capital gains tax. So if you have investments, interest, dividends, stock, the sale of stock, the sale of a home, the sale of art, if you have any capital gains tax, that is not the income tax. So who is not going to have to file a tax return? Those people who have income from an employment, who don't need to get any subsidies. So if you're using the health insurance marketplace, they're going to issue a 1099-A. They want to count that as income. Maybe that won't be taxed anymore. So you'd have to be a high W-2 income earner with no money coming in from investments. And I think, though, if you're in that bracket, you're not going to have any federal income tax. You still might have to file a state tax return depending on the state that you're in. There's a few states that don't have state income tax, but then they have their high sales tax and your oftentimes higher real estate taxes. And once again, the federal government doesn't actually collect tax on your real estate. That's at the state and local levels where you pay property taxes. So I'm not sure how they're going to do away with real estate tax as well at the federal level. But these are just my thoughts. There's nothing concrete yet about doing away with the income tax. It's just a political rumor right now, and politicians aren't always able to follow through or to come through with some of their ideas. It's a whole political system where there's negotiations and everything else. I do have a plan for those people who want to take advantage of the fact that we might have a time period of 0% income tax, right? Just because we may have a executive branch that does not enforce income tax collection does not mean that another administration wouldn't come back in and reinstitute that collection of income tax. So you might get just a break from income tax. And who knows if that break would just be a delay of income tax if another administration comes in and say, we're going to now enforce the enforcement of income tax. We're not sure how this will all play out, but I do have some more ideas, some plans. Let's get your plan specifically tailored for you by going to lab.tax and clicking on advisory services. We'll give you a free 15-minute introduction to our services here. And I wish you guys all the success.